President Trump doubling down on his push to acquire Greenland with tariffs on several NATO allies who deployed troops there, posting, quote, "We have subsidized Denmark and all of the countries of the European Union for many years by not charging them tariffs. It is time for Denmark to give back. World peace is at stake. China and Russia want Greenland, and there is not a thing that Denmark can do about it." Starting on February 1st, Denmark, Norway, Sweden, France, Germany, the United Kingdom, the Netherlands, and Finland will be charged a 10% tariff on any and all goods sent to the United States. Joining us now is Fox News contributor Michael Pillsbury, who is Special Assistant for Asian Affairs in the Pentagon under George H.W. Bush. He joins us now. Good morning, Michael. What do you think about this threat from President Trump?
Well, Lucas, I think President Trump's pretty serious about ownership of Greenland. That's the word he's using as part of his legacy. The latest is the idea of the Europeans that they can push back against President Trump. They've had a meeting here in Washington recently. We now have the Danish Prime Minister threatening against an invasion of Greenland. So this is getting serious, and I think what we have to keep in mind, Lucas, the big picture here is our missile defense base, our radar in Greenland, and the fact that we haven't had a good survey of all the minerals that are expected to be there. These are the two things President Trump has been focused on. And so far, this escalation on the rhetoric on the European side, I think, is what's driving President Trump to talk about raising tariffs on countries that don't help move Greenland toward itself. There's a Self-Government Act back in 2009 that actually allows a referendum, and Greenland can go independent if a simple majority votes for that. So that's what I think what's in the back of President Trump's mind is moving toward independence of Greenland, and then they can associate with America as they wish.
And we've seen some recent polling out of Greenland that the Greenlanders do want to be independent, at least a majority of them. Do you think, though, President Trump already has everything he needs besides the title for Greenland, the largest island in the world, by the way? Greenlanders, the Danish, do not mind U.S. forces moving in, putting in more troops on the ground. Does President Trump already have what he needs? Does he need the title?
No, he doesn't. There's a number of steps under this 2009 self-government law that have to be taken. And the key thing you just mentioned, Lucas, is the public opinion in Greenland of the authentic voters. Say roughly 60,000 inhabitants. If half of them vote, you're talking about a mere 15 to 20,000 people can determine the independence of Greenland or not. But to start campaigning and to talk about the referendum, when you have this really harsh rhetoric coming out of the Danish Prime Minister, it's going to be difficult. So I think I love the book, The Art of the Deal. I know the Chinese have read it. I've seen a Chinese translation of Art of the Deal. We're in an early phase now where President Trump hasn't really shown his hand exactly how he's going to do this, but he's shaping the battlefield, if you were, to get ready for actual ownership, or at least a survey and increasing our military and radar installations in Greenland.
The United States purchased islands from Denmark in the past. They're known as the Virgin Islands. That happened in 1917. We'll see what happens with this next chapter, perhaps, of The Art of the Deal. Thank you so much, Michael.
Thanks, Lucas.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.